Alright YouTube, it's Wednesday, July the 3rd. And what we're up to today, we're changing all the fluids in the old Ford 600. Or some people call them Jubilees. I'm not sure if this is actually a Jubilee. I thought a true Jubilee was the Golden Jubilee. But the old girl is a 600. Good running tractor. For those of you who haven't watched my past videos. Okay, I can't find much information on what to use in this old tractor. The transmission and rear end oil, I feel pretty safe with what I've got. The old owner's manual, which I bought off of eBay for $9. It looks like an original one. It's 1954 copyright. But there you see it. But it says it's for the rear end and transmission, which is, here's the fill plug for the transmission. Here's a fill plug for the rear end. It says to use a straight SAE 30 extreme pressure lubricant. I'm using this stuff right here, 80W90. You can't buy a straight SAE 30 no more. And from what I read on the internet, you want to look for this spec right here. If it meets a GL5 spec, I read that is okay. That's not etched in stone. That's just what I read. I'm going to try it and see. As long as my hydraulics don't leak from one reservoir to another, I don't think it's really that picky on your gear lube, unless the tractor sees a lot of highway miles, which this one doesn't. It doesn't really see that much work either. We mow that field twice a month. Those fields over there about twice a year. And I occasionally use the boom to pick up stuff around here. And that's it. I don't have a farm. This is just my dad's old tractor that I kept. And we don't have any farms anymore. So, okay, and the hydraulic fluid is what's got me a little worried. I'm using this stuff right here. It looks like the right stuff. I've already added a quart. Looks pretty much the same as the old. I wasn't really planning on changing hydraulic fluid, but last night I accidentally pulled the wrong plug. So it's a good idea to change it all anyway, because yeah, I'm going to show you what the transmission fluid looked like first. Gear oil looked pretty good. Transmission fluid, let me set my camera down. Okay, there's what the transmission fluid looked like. Pretty nasty. It was half water. You can see how thin that is down there. Pretty bad. I guess some people might kind of freak out and say, oh my god, you got to tear your tranny down. But as long as the tractor's working like it is, I'm not going to do that. We're just going to put fresh fluid in it. And I let it drain all night. And to get the sludge out, hopefully as much as I could, I bought me a brand new can of a carburetor and choke cleaner. Put the straw on it, stuck it down in there, and just sprayed all around in there. And a lot of sludge come pouring out. And then of course I just let it dry all night long. So let's end this. Let me show you all the drain plugs. I'll show you that. Let's see, you got 3. And this first one up front is the transmission, of course, right there. And this middle one, here's where I screwed up. I thought this all went into one area back to the differential, but I don't think it does. I think it stops right about there. Hopefully it does, because that's the hydraulic fluid reservoir. But that's your hydraulic fluid plug right there. And I did not see it. It was getting dark. Here is the differential plug. Actually, clean oil came out of it, but we're changing it anyway, because my father bought this tractor back in the 70s, and I don't remember ever seeing him change fluids in it. He did take it to some guy he used to work with, and they rebuilt the hydraulics and everything in it that long ago, so it probably got new fluid then. The biggest reason the transmission was full of water, as you can see, I just put a new shifter boot on it. Shifter boot was completely rotted away, and if they sit outside, it runs down in there. It's not a bad idea to throw a bucket over top of this if you're not storing it inside. Hopefully after my storage shed is built on the back and I can make that one bigger, I will have room to keep this inside again. But here, like I said, here's your fill plug for your transmission. I've got this rigged up because I could not find my good long funnel got frustrated. I hunted for an hour for the funnel and I can't find it. One of them deals where you put something in a certain place so it'll stay clean, be easy to find. 6 months later you can't find it. But anyway, that is the hydraulic fluid fill plug. They're all the same size plugs, big plug like that. And here is your rear differential fill plug right here, which I have not broken loose yet. Thought I broke that loose last night, but I can't do it by hand. Okay, I'm going to mount the camera on a tripod and we'll proceed to fill everything up. What I'm going to do is, according to the book, the specs call for 9.5 quarts of hydraulic fluid. I bought it, I got this as Tractor Supply for $39.95, $39.99 maybe. This was $61. I did see this exact same stuff on eBay for $56 with free shipping, so you can save a little money there if you want to wait for it. But this holds about a quart, so I'm filling this can up one at a time. I know it's a slow way, but that way I can keep track how much I'm putting in it. And I'm guessing it's got sight plugs. I'm guessing, just like old manual transmissions, if it's full, it should pour out the side. We'll see if 6 quarts or 6.5 quarts that they call for the transmission will actually come out that sight plug. Alright, let's quit blabbing and get this thing full of fluids before it starts raining on me. Alright, I decided not to film the actual fill up. That's kind of a long, boring process, and everybody knows how to pour oil in a hole. I already showed you where you're supposed to put what kind of oil. But everything worked out according to the specs in that old book. I put 6.5 in here. Put, I believe it was 9 or 9.5 in there. That's your hydraulic. That's your transmission. And I already checked this. Here's your dipstick right here, and it is exactly to the top of the full mark. And it may go down a little bit after I work the arms up and down, provided that they still work. They should. I don't think this fluid I put in there is going to hurt anything. It's supposed to work, and it always worked fine before. It was just dirty fluid. And we put 8 quarts, 8.5 actually in this. And if you go by your sight plugs, can't really see the screen here because of the sun. Yeah, see, I got a little bit of oil pouring out of there, just perfect. What your sight plugs are for. So honestly, you don't really have to measure it all out. What you could do is just stick your funnel in there, take your sight plugs out, and start pouring until it starts to drip out of here. But I guess it took extra time to do it the way I did it, 1 quart at a time. I was just curious to see if the specs from the old book worked out the same, just to make sure this tractor is exactly the kind of tractor I think it is. You know how that can go sometimes. Make so many different models and little things are different. And of course the transmission, we don't have any fluid seeping out, but if I stick my little crooked pinky finger in there, you can just touch, watch me get it stuck in there. You can just touch clean oil. So now next is the moment of truth. We're going to fire this thing up and see if these arms work on this thing. Oops, hit the camera. Sorry about that. And yeah, we'll drive the tractor around a little bit. Show you a little footage of that. Okay, let me put the camera on tripod. We'll start this thing up. tested them up and down a couple times. As you've seen, we're going to put it in gear, drive it around a little bit, see how it does. Looks like nothing went wrong. Time will tell as to whether we do actually have the correct hydraulic fluid in there. After I mow that field once or twice, it'll let me know if something's wrong. But I got a feeling everything's good. Everything seems to be working just like it was. The hydraulic arms lifted right up. There's no hesitation. It worked good as always. They've always been tight to push back down, but maybe that's a sign that it's a good tight system. I don't really know how much about hydraulics on these old tractors, but I am curious of one thing. There we go, it's releasing. I am curious of one thing. My hydraulic pump was always noisy. I can hear a little bit now. I'm just curious if the fresh fluid might make it a little quieter. It don't sound too bad right now, but I know after it gets hot, when you've been mowing an entire field, it gets really noisy. I'm just curious to see if the fresh oil and fluid will quiet that down. If not, I'm not going to do nothing about it until it fails, because these vane pumps, I can't find a rebuild kit for it, and they're not too cheap. So as long as it's working as good as it is, I mean, the hydraulics have been strong enough to pick up the front end of the tractor if you got too much weight. Can't ask for much better for a 1956 Ford that has been worked and sitting outside most of its life. Alright, thanks for watching. Hopefully we're going to do a video on the Power Stroke next. Got a little work done to it. Been on vacation this week. I'll show you what we got done to it. That's all this video. Thanks for watching.